Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Andre McKinney Dorval. I am a licensed attorney. I'm located in Florida. Today is Saturday, January 18th. Guys, I really wanted to do this video live so we could go over all of the information that is being released concerning next Tuesday, the day after President Donald Trump is sworn in. Some of you may have heard, others may have not. Operation Safeguard is the operation that is slated to kick off the mass deportations, which is starting in Chicago. I'm going to share my screen to show and for us to read over an article from the New York Times, which talks about this operation beginning in Chicago. Okay, so guys, you should be able to see my screen. And so as it states here, Trump's deportation plan is set to start next week in Chicago. The size of the planned immigration raids is unclear, but they would be the opening step in the president-elect's goal of overseeing the largest deportation program in history. Just to give a little background, the last time there was a deportation or mass deportation was back in the 1950s under President Eisenhower's administration. Now, let's continue with what this article reports. It says the incoming Trump administration intends to carry out post-inauguration immigration raids in Chicago next week, according to two people familiar with the planning and correspondence reviewed by the New York Times. An opening step in President-elect Donald Trump's goal to oversee the largest deportation operation in American history. Now, the plan is called Operation Safeguard by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, would start on Tuesday, January 21st, the day after Trump is inaugurated. And it'll start next Tuesday, January 21st, and will last until the following Monday, which is January 27th, according to people familiar with it and the correspondence. Now, this article does say the dates are still being finalized, so those dates could change. It could last longer than a week or less than a week. So this article says that the dates are still being finalized. Now, it goes on to say that the size of the planned operation was unclear. ICE routinely conducts deportations in cities throughout the city, but the agency was taking additional steps to ramp up enforcement for the operation and tied it to Mr. Trump's inauguration. Now, it goes on to say that hundreds of agents were asked to volunteer and participate in the post-inauguration operation targeting immigrants in the United States illegally. ICE is planning on sending approximately, roughly, they say, 150 agents to Chicago for the raids. Let's continue on. I also have a printout copy so that I can follow along. Now, it says that the incoming administration is eager to find ways to send a message that it is cracking down on undocumented immigrants and punishing so-called sanctuary cities. Some of you may be living in a sanctuary city. I am in Florida. Others may be in Chicago and Los Angeles, parts of California. And so here they are cracking down, according to this article, on undocumented immigrants and punishing so-called sanctuary cities, communities like Chicago that refuse to hand over immigrants detained by the police to federal immigration authorities. We talked a little bit about certain cities that have 287G agreements. We talked about it in the video that we posted concerning Florida. Florida proposed immigration laws for 2025. Check out that video. It describes what this article is describing here. The article goes on to state that Don Terry, a spokesman for the Chicago police, said the department would not intervene or interfere with any other governmental agencies performing their duties, but said that it does not document immigration status and following municipal code will not share information with federal immigration authorities. Now, guys, some cities share or ask for immigration status. Florida is one of those states that law enforcement can ask for your status in connection with if you're detained. So just be aware of that. We're going to do a separate video to go more into that for you. The article goes on to say that these raids were also reported by the Wall Street Journal. And then in an interview on Fox, this is referring to Mr. Tom Homan, which is the border czar. When asked if there would be a big raid in Chicago on Tuesday, Mr. Homan said there's going to be a big raid all across the country. Chicago is just one of many places. So if you are someone living in Chicago or in other cities that are sanctuary, according to the border czar, there are going to be raids all across the country. So it's important for us to all be aware of what's going on. And then lastly, what I want to share with you concerning this article is that New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, these are all major cities in the US, and according to this article, are still sanctuary cities. And according to this article, Mr. Homan, border czar, said that and adding in his interview, if they're not going to help us, then we'll just double the manpower in these cities. And by that, I'm taking that to mean, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm taking that to mean that what Tom Homan is saying is that they'll just have more ICE officers in those cities if local law enforcement in those cities are not going to help them in the mass deportation efforts. Guys, things are getting real, and they're getting real very fast. I want to leave you with takeaways. I always want to give you some sort of takeaway for you to be able to plan. Number one, if you haven't spoken to a licensed immigration attorney, do so about your situation if you're at risk of arrest, removal, or deportation. Number two, if you are encountered by law enforcement or a ICE agent or immigration agent, do not lie about your citizenship. If you are not a U.S. citizen, do not lie and say you are a citizen. Do not run from the police. We want to remain alive. And also, thirdly, have a plan, guys. Check out our video. It's the very first video that we posted on our channel entitled, If You're at Risk of Arrest or Deportation or Removal, Have a Plan. Have a plan in place. Part of your plan should include having an emergency contact list. This is also important because most of our contact numbers and information is stored in our phones. If you're detained and or arrested, certainly if you're arrested, whether it's by law enforcement in the state or federal agents, you won't have access to your phone. Guys, have a plan. Check out that video. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. Of course, this is general information. We are staying tuned. I thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.